Good morning. I'm Rosemary and you're listening to The Lightwalker's Path. It's a place to develop new insights, find your soul's purpose, hear enlightening conversation, and be inspired. Hi there, this is Rosemary and I'm your host on The Lightwalker's Path, streaming on multiple platforms. Join me every Tuesday to develop new insights and find your soul's purpose. The Lightwalker's Path is a place for inspired guests, discussions, and inspiration. And you can find replays on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many other streaming platforms. Today, my guest is Michael Sheraton, born in Dublin, Ireland. He lived in Alaska and he went to Dublin University. He studied dream interpretation, and for decades, he's been working with dreams and after spontaneous awakening, which I'll ask him about today. And he has a radio show, So You Think You're Awake, and he runs the Ashland Dream School. I've had the pleasure of taking some courses with Michael. I met his lovely wife, Sandy, who also helps him on his podcasts. And I am so thrilled to ask him to the show today. So Michael Sheraton, come on in. Hi,
Hello.
Michael.
Thank you for having me, Rosemary.
Yes, thank you so much. And I welcome hearing what you have to say today. I'm really so inspired by you and what you do. And I wanted to ask you a couple different things. And one is about you had an awakening. So most of my guests, when I ask them about their childhood, some people have had gifts early on. So first I'll ask you, did you have any inkling that you had these gifts inside of you at an early age? Or
Quite
did
the
it happen later?
quite the opposite. I was quite sure that anybody in this field was a total idiot, and I wasn't even polite about that. So if you tried to leave me and go into another room, I'd follow pointing. Say
I gotcha.
it was bad. So it's really ironic that here I am now doing this type of thing.
I love it, and I know that you do channeling, etc., which is something that I've done since '93. But what I'm going to ask you about is this awakening that got you on this path that you were supposed to be on. So tell me about that. I'm so intrigued about that idea.
So I managed a large team of software engineers, software engineer myself, and I got this idea that if I learned to meditate and pick the right meditation techniques, I would have a better brain, better focus, all that sort of stuff. Wouldn't get distracted, wouldn't get
Mm-hmm.
upset by project mishaps and all that sort of stuff. So I learned to meditate, and I meditated on the bus to and from work, and that's in Dublin City, big city, bus
Mm-hmm.
crawl. You could walk faster than the bus, but so it meant I was meditating for about 3 hours a day. Great use of my time on the bus where you're just trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And about 9 months into that, I was going to bed one night and I got this sense, oh, there's something in the room. And when you get this, you sit up and you look around, there's not going to be anything, there's not going to be anything, but the hairs in the back of your neck are up. And so you just have to placate your brain and say, look, it's all fine. And so I sat up, I look around, and there's three spirits at the end of my bed. And they look
Oh,
like you and me.
ooh,
They were
yeah.
so crystal clear, like they weren't even shimmering. They were like people at the end of
Ah,
my bed. But I knew they were spirits, and I screamed the house down. And it took my wife quite a while to calm me down. I couldn't
oh,
believe she
God.
couldn't see them. But that was it
Wow.
for me. I was an atheist before that moment, and after that moment, I wasn't, because I continued to see spirits. And it took me a long time to not be panicked by all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's really lucky in one sense, because a lot of people, it requires faith for them to believe in something. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can get to a point where it's tangible for you, but the initial part can require faith. I didn't need that. I knew it was real. I knew it was there. So it was either that or I was mad. And, I toyed with that idea, but they were too, like they interacted too well for it to be that.
Right. So did they give you messages while they were
No,
there? They just
no,
showed up and said, "Michael, we're here. We're just
they
blowing
didn't
you out
say
of the
anything.
water."
I couldn't hear them for quite some time, for a few years really. And one spirit used to show up every 2 weeks or so and would attack me. And only for that one, that meant I had to learn how to do like, what is this and how do I stop it? And
Right.
that's what set me on my path. If that one wasn't there, I would have just pretended they didn't exist, because no one else could see them. So it turned
Okay.
out many years later, the reason I could see them was I had two near death experiences in the womb. Now I knew about that.
Oh
I'd been
gosh.
told about that, and that's what had given me the abilities. But yeah, not for a long time. I don't
Wow.
know.
I find that some of these things are gatekeepers. Like when I first started channeling in 93, I had a very frightening, like a vision or actually a visit from this guy with a black cloak, with the red eyes and the hands. And it was trying to scare me off my path. And it did for 2 days. And then the next day, I just started yelling at it. And I said, listen, you don't belong here. There's no power over me. And then it shrunk to about that big. And then it went to my husband. It scared the heck out of him. But it couldn't get me, and I think that was like a gatekeeper to make sure I was ready to move forward. So that might have been your experience, kind of like your gatekeeper before it allowed you to move. I don't know.
Well,
Did you feel that was it, or do you feel it was more
I
like a
do
test?
to make sure I moved because I wouldn't have
Yeah.
moved otherwise. So then that set me on a journey, and this is pre-internet. Same for you. And so
Yeah.
I'm reading every book I can find. There wasn't a
Oh,
lot of books available on, spiritual or New Age things back then. And so I would visit the one bookshop in Dublin that had those books, waiting for
mm,
new books to come out. And if nothing was there, you waited. It's a
yeah.
different time, folks.
I know,
But
right?
then I finally got some books that were decent, and then I met the authors, and I ended up building a community, finding a community of people. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a very different thing today. Today you can go so descriptively type into Google, here's what I saw. What is it?
Yes, yes, and then AI will spit out all the things for you if you want them to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so when you started doing that, you began. It said you studied dream interpretation. Was this after your psychology study? Was it simultaneously at the same age? When did that
Uh,
happen for you?
this happened kind of in the middle of that. So I was studying psychology, but uh, it's funny how it went when my worldview shifted. It was like, okay, I set myself. I was going to be at the associate's degree level in 2 years, and I said, okay, if I'm still deep in the woods of spiritual stuff by then I'm going to switch tracks. And so that's
Mm.
what I did. Um, I'm very rational, at least I was back then. And I still am that way. Like I teach classes and so on, but I only like stuff that if I leave the room and come back in, I can repeat what I just did. And this should be
Mm.
the same for everybody else. Like here's how to see
Right.
spirits, or here's how to feel spirits, here's how to heal or interpret dreams. It should all be, in my view, very tangible, repeatable process,
Mhm,
not just
mhm.
a few have it.
Yes, yes. I love that. I've looked into ways people do dreams, and I loved your system not only because you channel it, but also because you have certain ones that appear, and you also have also said, which I believe, sometimes if shows up for one person, it has specific meaning. It may be different for someone else, and that's something that I've always found too. If my symbol is a certain way, it could be something special just for me. So that
Yeah.
that was interesting. So I know your dream school, Ashling Dream School, is quite busy now, and you have a lot of different workshops and classes. So I want you to talk about some things that you've noticed interpreting dreams through the years, as far as maybe repeating symbols or something that you've noticed that's consistent for most people in their dream states.
Well, I've seen so much. Look, I've been doing this for 33 years. And I don't, people often ask, like, what has changed? Are there changes? Do you see a lot? Because we get dreams sent to our show every week, and you
Hmm.
don't really see trends. I saw trends when COVID started. There was a lot of dreams about, I miss my friends. Like, and not just I miss my friends from last week, a lot of dreams showing, reminiscing about all the times you didn't uh, take somebody up on an event or a request to go on a holiday,
Yes,
maybe 10 years
yes,
before. Those type
yes.
of things really showed up. My favorite aspect of dream interpretation, though, is the whole spiritual side and spiritual gifts, because we all have at least one gift. And so I
Right.
like looking for dreams from a dreamer that show that, like, this is your gift. You have the ability to talk to spirits, or you have a writing ability, or you have a teaching ability, maybe a counseling ability. Like, there's loads of different ones. And
Yeah.
here's how you're meant to use it. Because we all come here with a gift, and we're meant to use that gift to repay our karmic debts. And
Yeah.
also, our gift is the part of us that is vibrating at a frequency closest to God. So the more we use that in this lifetime, the better it is for us, especially in this dense vibration. And yet in the West, most people just shrug their shoulders and go, oh, yeah, I've been told I was a writer before. And you're like, well, what did
Yeah.
you do with it? Nothing. Well, you're,
Yes.
you're going to regret that in your life review.
I really believe that. And I know too, like I came in really young knowing I had a mission. Like I was 3 or 4 years old and I knew it. And I knew it had to do with teaching or guiding. And then as, my time went, I became a teacher first and then went into what I'm doing now. But again, all my dreams, I'm either teaching someone, counseling someone, flying over something, and I get a lot of those and it has happened through the years. And the fun ones, I know if I'm pregnant in a dream at my age, I'm not going to be pregnant. I know
Yeah.
that a new thing's birthing, a new path or a new way to do
Yeah.
something. And it always happens. And those darn school dreams, Michael, every
They're good.
time a life lesson. Yeah, but every time I'm going to get a life lesson, I'll dream I'm in school. But if it's a college one, it's like a really strong life lesson coming. So I have the
Right.
heads up, but they never tell me what it is, not till it happens. Yeah. Excuse me. I know you also have a radio show and podcast that you put on, and you have these great little things on Facebook, which I love, shorts about like what your dream might mean if you dream of this,
Yeah.
and those are really, really helpful. So I hope people will go back and catch those after the show. Um, okay, so I'm really interested too in some symbols that show up when people are going to experience some sort of health issue down the road. So, is there certain ones that you would share that have to do with
Yeah.
ailments that come in?
So, one of I think it's the most underused aspect of dream interpretation. The fact that your dreams comment on your health. They comment on every aspect of your life. And your dreams want you to stay healthy because you need to be healthy to achieve all the other things you came here to achieve. And so dreams that focus on health focus on physical objects. And if there's damage to
Okay.
the physical object, then it's definitely about your body. So,
Okay.
you could take a bathroom, for instance. A bathroom is about elimination. And it could be about your own physical elimination system, but it may be about psychological elimination of something that holds you back, like a fear or a doubt or whatever, lack of confidence. And you can tell the
Okay.
difference based on what the focus in the dream is on. Is it a physical problem? Is the toilet clogged? Then it's your physical elimination
Oh,
system.
gotcha. Okay. How about a dog? Like if you dream of a dog that has to run out and use the bathroom, is it, I know you say everything's yourself. Does that mean
It is.
that
Yeah.
your dog is yourself too, right?
Yeah. And so it depends on what the dog is, but what they're doing. So animals, quite often, it's the location of the animal. And
Okay.
is the dog on a lead and so on? And where is the dog running out to? Is it the backyard or the front yard? All the
Oh, gotcha.
locations are very different. But the elimination in that aspect is definitely going to be about some other issue that's gone on before that point in the dream. So you look at all the other things, what's gone on, what's been focused on. Then you have the need to eliminate, which is symbolized by that dog needing to use the bathroom.
Okay. Okay.
It's saying let go of all the negatives that we just listed. Your dreams are basically going to focus on things you need to change. They're either going to guide you about here's a gift or a change you need to make in your life, changing career, whatever. Leave your partner. Your dreams don't care. If there's no spiritual value in something, they will tell you to get out of it. And then the
Yeah.
other thing they will help you with is healing an aspect. Like here's why you have fears about your ability, and here's what you need to do to
Okay.
fix that particular fear or
Okay.
heal it. And then the last one, they only come for 3 reasons. The last one is to just be brutally honest about how you are with regard to that subject matter. So you might think, oh, I'm a really patient person. And your dream saying, no, you're not. You're far from that. And it's they don't hold their punches, but they don't comment. They don't say anything in a judgmental way. They will say, look, here's your issue, but here's
Neutral.
why you have the issue. And
Okay.
so they will join the dots back to where this all started. And for a lot of us, the other dot is way back in childhood. And so we
Okay.
don't have a memory of it. But like most of the things we pick up are when we don't have a logical mind. So very early childhood, like when you would believe in Santa or the Tooth Fairy just by somebody telling you they exist, that's where the age we are when we pick up issues, because somebody only needs to tell us something once and it's true, like you're in my way, and then you believe for the rest of your life that you're in people's way and you're looking for permission to do things, and you hold yourself back because you feel like, oh, I shouldn't do that, they didn't really ask me to do it, whatever it is. but your dreams will point back to it and say, this is the cause, this is what you need to fix. And then the beautiful part is that's the way it's meant to be. You're meant to pick those issues up. It's not like these are the problem. I say on
Right.
our radio show all the time, the obstacle is the way, because we're meant to use the obstacle in our path
To
as the
learn.
catalyst for our growth.
Yeah, yeah. I believe that very strongly. And I always say everything that you go through in life is for spiritual growth. And the point is to find the lesson in it. And if you don't, it repeats itself in
Yeah,
another way, like a big slap upside the head if you don't get it, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so the other thing I find very fascinating is how guides and angels show up in dreams,
right.
and how they present themselves. So I want you to mention about guides and how you know it's a guide and not just your brain thinking up, something.
Yeah.
So how do you
So
know?
there are several ways to tell. The most obvious way to tell if it's a guide, and why should you want to know you have a guide in your dream? It's because whatever they do or say is infallible. They're the only characters in your dream who are 100% correct. So if they
Okay.
tell you to do something or tell you the cause of something, that's it. Just take it to the bank. So you can tell them by they have a title frequently. So there will be a taxi driver, a bus driver, or postman, that kind of thing, or a doctor. So they have a title. They speak with authority. That one can be pretty obvious too, because you see that they're taking charge of a situation. They frequently will offer you a gift,
Okay.
and that's fantastic. So definitely a guide. Sometimes they're very quiet, they're very aloof, so you have to spot the other symbols. But offering you a gift is the third one, and then they're frequently very tall. In fact, they're always very tall,
Mm-hmm.
and so they can be much taller than you if they're standing on the same level as you, or else they're on a higher platform than you. So they might be up a couple of steps, or standing on a chair, or sitting on a horse. Something that shows their elevated status in vibrational terms compared to you or compared to everybody else in the dream. And if you find you're as tall as the guide, well, that's really good. That's telling you that your vibrational state is up there too. But typically they're super tall. And if you meet a friend in a dream who offers you a gift, they're actually a guide in the spirit world. Um,
Oh, that's
you can
cool.
tell, or they might be super tall in all your dreams.
Yeah.
It still counts.
Okay, so my question too about I've had dreams of going to the other side, and I had this really, really young, like going into a record room or going to see like the fence and then the people. And my question is, do you believe, or I think I know what you're going to say, but do you believe people can travel to the other side in their dreams or visit home, like heaven or whatever we call home, in their dream state?
So we
Your
can have a
thoughts on that?
symbolic representation of that in our dream state. When we're having our dreams, we're in our body. We're not on
Yeah.
the astral plane or anywhere else like that. But our dreams will often pull in the memory of astral traveling activities. So and that would be somebody who has flying dreams, which you said
Yeah.
earlier you have. They're able to
Yeah.
remember astral traveling activities because it's
Okay.
where you're able to mentally
Mhm.
project your mind into that dimension. And so if you've got that ability, you also have the ability to recall it. So if you can do
Mhm.
that, then you're going to have the memory of those journeys, the memory of those conversations. But what you will notice if you look back at the conversations, nobody's mouth is moving. It's all
Right.
telepathic communication.
Right. That's
And so
right.
that is another indicator that that's where you are. But
Yeah.
absolutely, most of us, most nights when we sleep, we leave our bodies and we go to the astral plane. It's a midway point between the spirit world and here. And it's not just a little midway point. It's a huge, huge, huge
It's
place.
not very nice because I've been there. And I usually try to yell people. It's like, you're dead. Don't you know you're not supposed to be here? And they just like don't see me, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh gosh. Yes. The other thing too is that, often dreams of like going back to your childhood home or, visiting people you haven't seen in a long time, like those kind of things tend to happen too for people, right?
Definitely, they do. So the childhood home one is probably one of the most common because, like I said earlier, we pick up our issues in childhood, and so our dreams try to show us, here's why you are that way. And even if it's a very negative trait, say you're a very angry person, again, your
Hmm.
dreams don't judge you on it. They just say this is the reason. Almost like this. It's like you couldn't help but be angry, Michael, because this is the
This,
childhood you experienced.
I
That's the
gotcha.
way they're doing it. And so it's really with a loving hand that they're pointing at all these things. And for a lot of us, the awareness of that what they're saying is enough. But
Hmm.
most of the time we still need to do some work. It's like, oh wow, I picked all this up from that person, from mom, from dad. They're the most influential. And basically our paradigm view of the world is set in childhood. And then
Okay.
to heal that, like if dad's a really angry person, then and it doesn't matter how anybody else is, only mom and dad count when we're a kid. And so that sample size of just two people is what we
Yeah,
use to set our paradigm view of the world. And
really
so
frightening.
that's very angry. Then men are very angry. And if
Yes,
I need to
yes.
get into a relationship, if I'm a woman, then I need to learn to put up with this and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
And we go, why do I get angry people? Well, you get angry people as partners because that's your
yeah.
world view. So
It's
you
your
need to
path.
fix that, then you can go above that ceiling. You can't create a reality above what you already believe. So if you believe
Right.
that's how it is, that's all you can create.
Yeah, I think half of our life we live one way, and then we have to unlearn half of our life when you get older, right? You spend the next
Yeah.
couple of years trying to unscrew everything that's been twisted in there.
Well, the kick in the teeth part is if you're an angry person because of childhood, you were already that way in the spirit world. And your childhood is
Okay.
used to help you transfer that anger over into the earth plane. And so it's not like, oh, I'm this way because of my parents.
Right.
If you didn't
Karma.
already have those issues, you wouldn't twist yourself and turn in the direction you are now. So it
Yes.
only takes a little bit of a nudge for you to feel like powerless or weak or that I shouldn't talk to people. Nobody's interested
Uh-huh.
in my feelings. Whatever it is, that's already your view. And the point of coming here is to pick it up in spades and then do something about it because you can do a lot about it while you're here.
Oh, yeah. I say people that go through these really traumatic childhoods are very brave because they come in and they know they got to come to Earth and unfix what they have to come
Yeah.
here to fix, and their karma is really strong. And I find that too with soul groups. We're picking our soul groups to come back in and teach us something, negative or positive, but
Yeah.
kind of to play off of them, like a Greek play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we're coming up on a sponsor break in about 2 minutes. I just want to give you a heads up. But I wanted you to think about this. I know some people have nightmares, and I know you're saying that everything represents you in a dream. So I want you to speak on that next about like what nightmares could mean for somebody and how they can learn from that situation. All right, so I think my engineer is back. Okay, so this is the Lightwalker's Path. We have a sponsor break coming up, and we'll see you very soon. Welcome back. This is Rosemary. This is the Lightwalker's Path, and my guest is Michael Sheraton, Ashling Dream School, dream interpretation expert, and awesome guy. So we're talking about nightmares in how they what you can learn from them and what is the purpose of them. Why do people have these repeating nightmares or fears? Like what can you tell me?
So any repeating dream is a message you haven't gotten yet. So once you understand the meaning of the dream, often that's enough for it to just stop. So if we interpret a nightmare for somebody, like that's the end of the nightmares, unless it's something much more traumatic, and it's going to require a bit of work on your part before it disappears. But the meaning of a nightmare is the same as the meaning of a dream. So it isn't necessarily anything negative. Um,
Okay.
that's always what's interesting about it. But it is a dream you're going to remember. And
Okay.
so a lot of people will say, I had a nightmare because I watched a horror movie. And I always then ask them, well, what did you watch and what did you dream of? And it's always different. It's like, oh, well, I watched a Dracula movie, but I dreamt of Frankenstein. And it's like,
Okay.
okay, well, so our dreams pull in the events of the day and recent events, and they really make the story from symbols that are drawn from that.
Okay.
But you look for the differences. Like, so if I watched Frankenstein and dreamt of Dracula, why did I dream of Dracula? We can still interpret that because it's different. But
I got it.
sometimes we do need to look at what is the backdrop, and maybe we just ignore the backdrop. So if you dream that you're in work and you're in a cubicle and that's where you always are, well, then you're not really going to try and interpret that. You're going to look for what is different in that cubicle, and you go, oh well, there's an elephant sitting in the next cubicle. Well, that's different. So
Okay.
elephants are about like having a thick skin or pretending to have a thick skin, but you're actually really sensitive.
I got it.
Dracula would be about your dream of flying. Dracula can fly, but in this case, it's a negative context because it says that you're negatively affecting people with your powerful mind or the thoughts
Oh,
that you're using in your powerful mind.
okay. My other question too is in lucid dreaming. That's when you're dreaming when you're dreaming.
Yeah,
They say that
yeah.
sometimes you can change your dream or learn from something in your dream. So, what is your take on astral, like lucid? I'm sorry, lucid dreaming.
So it depends on the level of lucidity. Even if you become completely aware in the dream, like this is a dream, I can do whatever I want. If you don't mess with the setup of the dream, then it's fine. So if somebody, for instance, is very frightening in your dream, and then you confront them because you're lucid and you know you can't get hurt, that's absolutely fine. It's incredibly powerful. You can really get a
Okay.
lot of healing from becoming lucid. But if you just fly away from the scene and go somewhere else, you can't interpret the dream anymore because it's now the symbols are yours.
I
You're
got it.
deciding where you're going, not your higher self. But it's really a good state to get into because if you can recognize a guide from what we said earlier and you're
Mhm.
lucid, then you can ask the guide anything. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be about that dream, but you can
Yeah.
definitely say, here's the thing you can always ask every character in any of your dreams. You can ask them what aspect of you they represent, and they will
Oh,
honestly answer.
yeah.
But if you ask them something else, like, what do I need to do to get out of this issue with my boss? They will
Oh, okay.
still answer, but it's like a drunk at the bar. You know, they're going to give
Yeah,
you all the advice that they have, but it's useless. Uh,
I got it.
different. It's different when it's a guide, though. You can ask them anything you want, and their answer is going to be correct. But what
Oh,
sometimes they will do is they will freeze the dream and like put you in the penalty bin. So it's
I
like,
gotcha.
yeah,
Oh,
we don't
wow.
want to answer that.
I love that. What do you represent? It's funny because whenever I was going through a health issue, I'd dream of my cousin who in life she really is a doctor. So Lucy, my cousin
All
Lucy
right.
would show up in my dream. I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to ask her something." And then I would like say, "Lucy, what is it that I need to do?" So I guess it's kind of like my higher self or getting
It's
information
fantastic.
that
Yeah.
is in it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I
But
know
you remember
coins. Yeah,
I said, guides have a title. Lucy's in your dream. She's a doctor. She is
she's
a
a
guide. So you can ask her anything you want.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I years ago I diagnosed something that was wrong with myself that I didn't know, and because she showed up, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Did she
I
send
know.
you an invoice for that?
No, no, she didn't. But she's my cousin, so well, it's okay. Yeah. Um, okay. So another dream that's pretty common for people is money and coin dreams, and I learned this
Yeah.
from taking your class. Is that coins mean something? So like silver coins have a meaning. What
So
would be? Yeah.
silver itself is about feminine energy, and silver
Okay.
is about intuition. It's the color of the moon. It's because it's the color of the moon, and the moon represents that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a source of light, but it reflects light in the dark. And
Reflective.
people who have intuition, they have a strong connection with their psyche and therefore their higher self. So they get information out of nowhere. They will frequently
Yeah,
say, I know this is true, but I don't know why I know or how I know.
yeah.
Because nobody else has told them.
Claircognizance, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it comes from their higher self. So just like I know this. And it's
Mm.
really, really practical and useful. A gold coin would say you have a hands-on healing ability. And that would be really cool if you see it in your hands in your dream, because reference to the hands would tell you that too. But
Mhm.
coins themselves can also be about change, the need for change
Oh, change, right,
in your life.
right. That makes
And
sense.
money, you mentioned money, but money is a few different things. It's often about the circulatory system. You know, money circulates in our economy, and we often
Oh,
think, "Oh,
gotcha.
not enough is circling my way, though."
Yeah.
But it also it's green. It's the color of the heart chakra, and but another thing it can represent in a dream is the investment required to achieve something. So if you're a writer and you dream of looking at a pen in a shop window, then it might be $3,000 or $3. The three is saying it requires commitment, and the number of zeros after it tells you how much commitment. You know, how much
Oh,
energy are you going to need to put in order to develop and use this ability? So hopefully it's
yeah.
just the $3.
How about like 90 cents? Because I had a dream where I was holding 90 cents in my hand.
So nine says you're an advanced soul. You've been to the earth plane a few times and you know your
Yeah,
way around. And it
yeah.
really says that this is your last necessary earth life. So you don't need to come back
Oh,
here. You've achieved escape velocity, let's say, but you might have done that in a previous lifetime. You're just back here to help, like a light worker, as a light
yeah.
worker.
So,
And the
yeah,
zero is about goals. So it's saying, look, commit to your goals because this is the last time you ever need to do it. It's kind of a kick in the butt at the same time. You like
yeah.
do what you came here to do is really the request of the 90 cent.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I no, I agree because the first time I channeled, I had Uriel come in behind me, and that's when I started channeling. And that angel literally kicks you in the tush and says, "Let's go." So I kind of felt like there was this quick need, like I have to get all this stuff done. I want to get the books out. I want to do this. I want to do that. And Yeah, I always felt that's kind of part of my mission. What are your best practices for you for after you do, let's say, an event or you're with people or you channel? I have certain protocols to clear myself and to ground myself, which I teach my healers. Do you have certain things that you found are effective for you to clear you out or to keep you
I
centered?
do. I do, and I actually teach that in our channeling classes. I
Okay,
went
good.
through a lot of stuff for maybe 2 decades before I realized how significant some type of attacks can be on you. And
Mhm.
then I went through a phase of getting attacked all the time. I knew who was doing it and all that sort of stuff. Didn't matter. Still hit. And
Mhm.
then I had to learn over about 3.5 years about lots of different types of attacks and what you can do in order to
Mhm.
clear them. And then I learned about protectors. We have protectors too who will defend us even when we're unaware of attacks on us. And so that's a
Mhm.
big part of our programs now. But it is funny how much we don't realize that we do have to look after our spiritual health, our
Yeah.
energetic health, as
Yeah.
much as our physical health. And so if I go to interpret a dream, get myself into a particular channeling state in order to do it. So I will
Mhm.
interpret the dream based on what I know, what I channel, and then I will check in with my guides afterwards as well to say, did I get this right?
Okay.
And so it really gives me a lot of confidence. But you will often see me, I'm very silent for a while before I speak. And most of that time is me clearing, making sure that there's nothing interfering with my connection. But
Okay.
you asked, what do I do? If you're finishing, the best thing you can do is imagine that your chakras are closing down like a beautiful flower, that
Mm.
there's
Right.
maybe a strand of light just moving down past your body and gently closing the chakras, not all the way, but just to a point that is optimal for being in the physical world. Because if you
Mhm.
don't do that, then you're leaving yourself open to every type of spirit that walks by. And,
Mhm.
maybe there isn't going to be any issues there, but it just makes sense to do
It
it.
does. It does. When I teach channeling through the angels, and I always, protect with a beam of light and ask your guardian angel to stand guard of your crown chakra, where a lot of the information comes in, and then we ground like a tree, and then at
Yeah.
the end we clear ourselves and ask that if anything is attached knowingly or unknowingly, we release it to the light and ask for blessing. So we have certain things I do, and I teach my healers that as well, especially if you're touching people and you're like right in their energy field doing
Oh
Reiki on
yeah,
them.
yeah,
You have
yeah.
to be,
Because you
you have to be cognizant of anything that's there and
you're
just to kind of be clear,
you're clearing an infiltration, and it's like, oh, I'll get you for that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's funny though. I found when I was really, really new years ago, that's when you're challenged the most because you don't know some of those things you know now. Like I would go somewhere and then someone would say, "Oh, there's the light," and then I'd get like an attachment for a while, and I'm like, I feel lousy. What is in my energy field, and I have to release it.
so
But
I
mostly when I was new.
it was similar for me. I would have really good days, and then I would have some days where it's like it's a slog, like working out what a dream means. I'm like, I don't know what the difference is. But when I learned fully about clearing and uh, removing attachments before working,
Mm-hmm.
I get to a point where every day is a super clear day. And I'm like, oh, this is what it was all those times, and I just didn't know.
Yes. Nature's great too. Like I go outside in
Yeah.
the woods a lot and I walk and the trees are really good to clear you, especially like pine
Mhm.
trees and things. So I love being outdoors and actually the ocean. When I was a teacher, every summer I'd make sure like right when I was done, I'd go out in the ocean and then clear myself with the ionized air and the salt and stuff. And that was a magical thing. So my salt baths are a go-to for me, like my Epsom salt baths, when I'm
Yeah.
not near the beach. So that's been my clearing practice. Okay. I saw that you have some books. I saw you have How to Interpret Your Dreams and My Journey to Awakening. Are there
Yeah.
any other books that you want to mention that I don't have listed here? Because I
No,
pulled in
no.
Ohio.
I
Those are
I have a
okay.
couple in my head.
That's good. They're
But
coming.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've started on them. Like I want to do like a really detailed book on dream interpretation. And if you've got my other one, you're like, well, can you get more detailed than that? But and then the Journey to Awakening, I could really write a sequel to that. That's like a tongue-in-cheek, humorous account of my bungling journey into the spiritual field.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, and it's very much me. It's my style, my humor, and so on. Um,
Hmm.
but I could definitely write a lot more on that because I feel like I was a teenager when I wrote that one, and I
Yeah.
thought at that point when I wrote that book, oh look, I've arrived, and I said my journey to awakening, again a tongue-in-cheek title, like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
awake.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm so much more awake now than I was then. That's that doesn't count.
It's part of it though.
Yeah.
I think back to like when I wrote my first one and how I transitioned, and now, because of you, I made sure that other spiritual book is now out that you told me I should be writing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
got that one out, and I
Good
mentioned
job.
you, I think, in two of my spiritual books. But I have a lot of them as well, and I know that was always part of my journey that I couldn't do when I was teaching because I was too busy teaching. So as soon as I retired, I started like, I got to get this done and this done and this done, like that race,
Yeah.
to get everything finished.
But
But
it's
yeah, I'm excited
interesting.
about that.
Age. It's interesting you say that because age doesn't really seem to matter. It's
Mm-mm.
We may be here for a very important mission, but you may not be meant to start it until later years in life. So I wouldn't. A lot of people feel put off, like, oh my gosh, I wish I discovered this earlier, and you're telling me now at age 50, whatever it happens to be, and it's very likely that's the time you're meant to wake up and do it.
Yeah, and I find a lot of seekers will come to me that are just like newbies, and there might be 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're just kind of starting. So I agree with that. And I don't really feel age has any bearing. I think if you're still breathing, you can still learn and you can still move ahead. So that's my thing. I'm still breathing, I'm still walking, I'm going to get out there. My age doesn't mean anything. So I don't, when people say, oh, I'm so old, I can't do this, it's just like, no, no, you're still breathing, keep going,
Yeah, it's an excuse.
Yeah,
Your dreams are
yeah.
kicking you for that.
There you go. And I know you have two grandsons and you have two daughters. So are your children into any of this spiritual
Yeah.
stuff?
Um, they are like they're all nobody. I have one daughter who she doesn't really make a living from it, but she could if she wanted to.
Okay.
And it's just kind of a hobby. Um, but they're very aware of it,
Okay.
because growing up with us. But they grew up in Ireland, two of them, or
Hmm.
I should say more. And it's not really well received. Like if you start talking spiritual things in a Catholic run school, then you're going to get in trouble. So they got in trouble with things. But
Okay.
yeah, the world has changed a lot now, though.
Yeah.
You look at how open people are to this now, and
Yeah.
how open they were when we were younger. You're like you're on a different planet. We're living in a beautifully sweet age where we can have this conversation openly in a public forum.
Yeah.
You couldn't do
Yeah.
that before.
All right, hold that thought because we've got a sponsor break coming up, the Lightwalker's Path. Don't go away. We've got our last segment coming up, and it's an exciting one. All right, thank you. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary. My guest, Michael Sheraton. And he was just telling me that he has the Dream Interpretation Podcast, which is the name for his podcast. Ashling Dream School is probably also listed. And Michael, tell me about your October 3-day event and what people can expect.
So it's like taking you from I have an interest in dreams because I dream. I mean, I'm lucky I'm in a field where people even who are skeptics are interested because they have a weird dream that stands out for them. They're like,
Mhm.
okay, let's see what this fool says it means. Um, so lucky that way. But we have this event October 11th to 13th, and we take you from the very basics, not knowing anything about dreams, to understanding why we dream in symbols, to understanding how to break a dream apart. Like, what do I
Okay.
do to deconstruct it and then reconstruct the meaning? And there's a
Okay.
lot of detail in it. Like, it's not one of these events where it's like, hey, do our course and we'll tell you this thing later. We just flood you with lots of information about uh, the most important topics in dream interpretation. Like masculine and feminine energy is
Mm-hmm.
the biggest subject of all dreams. And yet you won't find that mentioned anywhere, that they're all about masculine and feminine energy. And then the next biggest topic in dream interpretation is the birth imprint. How were you received when you arrived on
Oh,
the planet? And
gotcha.
again, you rarely will see that.
Yeah.
We do also cover like these are the most common dreams and here's what they mean and so on. But
Okay.
it's a fun event. The whole thing is a fun event. It's not just like your brain's going to hurt at the end.
Yeah.
And we have quizzes and things like that throughout it too. We've run it 4 times already, so I think this will be our fifth if I've got my numbers right. And
And it's
it
online, right, Michael?
it
Is it
is all
online?
on. It's all
Yeah.
virtual. So
Okay.
yeah, and
Cool.
you can get it at our website dream-analysis.com. The link isn't up there now to it, but it will be like in about 5 days or so to
Okay.
sign up for that. Totally free event.
Very neat. Very interesting. So I was thinking of a thought I was going to ask you right then, and I just forgot what it was. Okay, so you got the dream event coming up. Um, is there anything else that you can share about dreams that you want to highlight? Like you said, it's male and female energy. Oh, I know I was going to ask you. I just got it. Woo! Brain came in. When you come into this world, I know we have the blueprint, the path, and what we're going to learn. Does it matter the month that you're born? Like, is that anything that you find as important in your dream or not? Like in
No,
your viewpoint?
I don't go that direction at all, and it's not, and I know nothing about it, so I can't comment on it.
Got it. Got
Um,
it.
but you do have a mission. We have our mission is split up into a few different things, and one of the parts, like, so we're obviously meant to work on ourselves and heal ourselves and do something positive for us, not for anybody else. Then we're
Right.
also meant to discover and use our gifts, but there's a complexity in that. Like, you might have to, like, for you to do what you're doing today, you didn't
Yeah.
just say, "Oh, I'm just going to do this podcast." That's a lot of work to get to the point of having the courage to do it, having the resources, the to devote to it. Like, if there's a
Hmm.
physical cost, an emotional cost, a time cost, lots of things have to be done, and then there's various things you probably have to overcome in your life in order
Hmm.
to also be able to do it. And so it's the same
Hmm.
with most of our gifts. There's something blocks us from using them, and we're meant to work on that. And that's an issue that when we do it, we become a stronger person because of it. So there are two big pieces: work on yourself, then use your gifts to help other people. There's a point at which uh, you're, we come to the earth plane with one vibration, and the goal is that when we leave, we have a
Tired.
raised vibration.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a point at which, when you're trying to raise your vibration, it is required that you help other people.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
just at
believe
that
that.
higher level of vibrational state.
Right.
So you're still growing while you're helping the other person. It's a
I,
symbiotic
I,
relationship. And if you
Same with the
don't do
guides,
that,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't do that, then you're holding yourself down, keeping yourself down. Not a
Hmm.
wise thing to do. Um,
I also say that with your guides too. Like they are on the other side, but their vibration's higher than us, and they're still helping, and they're still growing,
Absolutely,
right?
and they're
Yeah.
benefiting from the fact that they're doing this. You know,
Hmm.
Anything spiritual is a two-way street. You know.
Hmm. Um, and as far as personality constructs, I know, like you're saying, some people are angry or this or that. So those are also things that they hinder us because they're in our blueprint until you understand the reason and why and how to fix it, right? So we can
Yeah.
fix it through dreams, we can fix it through self-service and just understanding, like inner understanding, right?
Well,
To
understanding, but embodying the other understanding, so that it's like, um, don't make excuses for your behavior. Like, change your
right,
behavior. It's that change is
there you
what's
go.
needed. And it's easy to say change, but if you can understand what causes you to be that particular way, then that's terrific. And there's many ways to do it. You can do dream work. But even with that, like, we use processes to drag people. I jokingly say drag people by the ear, and
Yeah.
get them to do what their dreams are saying. But other energetic work is ideal for helping you release the patterns that hold you back.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
there is work required to be done. It's not always painful, but even if it is, the benefits you keep forever. Not just for the rest of this lifetime, which should be enough of a lure. Like, if you can go through the
Yeah.
rest of your life not angry and happy, then that's fantastic. But you get to take that raised vibration with you, and that's
Mhm.
really the point.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I believe that we bring that gift of light back when we go. So that's part of our mission. Yes, we're coming up on the last minute or two. So people are going to check out your site and look for your 3-day event, which is great. And I encourage everybody to take some classes with Michael. He's fantastic, and his wife is wonderful, and they're a great team. And check out your books. I just purchased one of your books too online. I saw you're on Amazon. I'm like, oh, I got to buy that one. So that's
Well,
great.
we do a lot of free events, a heck of a lot of free events. So our mission is to reconnect people with their light, and we do it through three different pillars: channeling and dreams and other work. But we do a lot of free events because we can afford to do a lot of free events, and we really enjoy that. So once a month, we also have a free dream clinic. You can just come in, say what your dream is, and I will interpret it. Now, we get a lot of people show up, and we just pick a few, but that's every Tuesday, first Tuesday of every month. We have free newsletters where we give you lots of tips about dream interpretation too. We have 2 3-day events that we put on each year, and they're very expensive to put on.
Mhm.
All free, and much, much, much more. Like there's a lot of stuff you can get because we want you understanding your dreams and listening to them and growing because you listen to them.
Okay. What time is your Tuesday free event? What
It's
time is that?
9 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay, I just want to check in. Okay, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you today and learning more about you. And I've been your host, Rosemary DiTrolio. You're watching The Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary. And we hope we both inspired you to get out there and remember your dreams and, keep growing and just keep going. So we hope to see you. I'll see you next week at 10 Eastern. And Michael, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Take care. Bye. I'm your host, Rosemary DiTrolio, and you've been watching and listening to The Lightwalker's Path. Learn about my workshops, sessions, courses, and more at info@rosemaryd.com. My website, rosemaryd.com, Hands of Light by Rosemary. Have a blessed and beautiful day.